Punch was born in July 2025 at the Ichikawa City Zoo, which is located just outside of Tokyo.
Right.
Tragically, he was rejected by his mother literally immediately at birth. And in captivity, when mother rearing fails, human zookeepers have to step in just to keep the infant alive.
They don't really have another choice.
No, they don't. So they hand-raised him, and to provide some semblance of maternal comfort, they gave him this plush IKEA orangutan toy. For his first 6 months of life, that piece of stuffed fabric was his entire world.
Which sets the stage for what is arguably the most dangerous and critical moment in any captive primate's life, which is the introduction to the larger troop.
Yeah, that happened on January 19th, 2026.
Right, and this isn't a casual meet and greet. It is a very high-stakes integration into an ancient, rigid social hierarchy.
And it did not go well. Punch was placed into the resident monkey enclosure, still holding onto his plushie, and the result was just absolutely heartbreaking. He was immediately isolated.
The troop completely rejected him.
Completely. And the footage of this tiny baby clutching his toy, just alone in the corner of the habitat, it sparked an absolute frenzy online. People were devastated.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I want to ask, why was the rejection so immediate and so total?
Well, to understand the troop's reaction, we really have to strip away our human emotional lens for a second. We have to look at the biological mechanics of macaque societies.
Okay, lay it on me.
These primates rely on incredibly specific biological cues to identify who belongs to the in-group. For them, predictability equals safety.
And Punch was not predictable.
Not at all. He was missing almost all of those essential cues. According to the sources, he had a differing fur color, which visually marked him as an anomaly right off the bat.
Wow, just from his fur.
Yeah, and because he was hand-raised by humans and fed a different diet, he carried a distinct smell. Pheromones are a primary identification tool for macaques. Smelling like a human is essentially wearing the scent of a predator.
That is terrifying. And the sources also point out he had delayed vocalizations. Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine you are the new kid at middle school. That's an inherently terrifying experience for anyone.
The worst.
Right, but imagine you show up on the first day wearing an entirely different uniform from a rival school. You smell completely unfamiliar to everyone in the room because you've been living in a different country, and you literally cannot speak the local language.
You'd stick out like a sore thumb.
You wouldn't just be awkwardly ignored in the cafeteria, you would be actively ostracized as an outsider who does not belong.
That is precisely the mechanism at play, but the stakes are life and death. For a macaque, vocalization is the fundamental glue of their social structure. It's a chemical and auditory passport.
A passport, I like that.
Yeah, vocalizations dictate submission, aggression, play, warning everything. If Punch could not speak their language, and he didn't smell like their family, to the dominant members of the troop, he wasn't just a quirky infant, he was a potential biological threat.
Because he's an unknown variable.
Exactly, in an environment where the troop's survival depends on absolute cohesion.
So while the monkeys were biologically programmed to reject him as a threat, humans are biologically programmed to protect the vulnerable. The internet's reaction to his rejection was visceral.
Yeah, people were so mad.
So mad. There was one 37-year-old man on Reddit who commented that he was seriously contemplating boarding a plane to Japan just to, quote, punch some monkeys in the face to defend this baby.
I mean, I get the impulse.
It's a hilarious image, but it really shows how aggressively our parental instincts override our logic when we see a helpless infant, regardless of the species.
What's fascinating here is that the plush toy, the very object that made Punch look so pathetic and vulnerable to the internet, was actually serving a vital life-or-death biological function.
Wait, really? It wasn't just for comfort.
No, we tend to view the IKEA orangutan as just a cute security blanket for emotional comfort. In reality, it was an artificial nervous system regulator.
Okay, explain that.
In the wild, a baby macaque spends its first several months physically clinging to its mother's chest or back. Gripping that hair actually activates the vagus nerve, which literally lowers the infant's heart rate and regulates its nervous system.
So without the physical resistance of something to grab onto, his body would essentially be in a constant state of panic.
Exactly. Without a surrogate to physically grip with his hands and feet, Punch's brain would have been continuously flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone.
Which is terrible for a developing brain.
It is. Sustained levels of stress can permanently rewire a developing brain, stunting neurological development and muscle tone. The zookeepers weren't just giving him a toy to be nice. That plushie taught his nervous system how to function.
That is incredible. The toy kept him physically and psychologically intact while he waited for the real world to accept him.
It really did.
But that brings up a huge problem. If he is this walking biological anomaly setting off every alarm bell in the enclosure, how does an isolated outsider ever break into a closed society?
Well, it turns out you find the one individual who knows exactly what it feels like to be an outcast.
Enter Go-chan. Go-chan is an adult monkey in the troupe, and his backstory is arguably just as tragic as Punch's.
It's pretty heartbreaking, yeah.
He grew up in a circus, he never fit in with his troupe there, he was relentlessly bullied, and the sources specifically note that he arrived at the Ichikawa Zoo with a body physically hurt and damaged by profound stress.
He is a survivor of severe social trauma. And in a highly stratified society like theirs, the traumatized often sink to the very bottom of the hierarchy.
Yet Go-chan was the very first monkey to reach out to the lonely Punch. The videos show them sitting together, and Go-chan actually helps Punch groom the stuffed orangutan.
I saw that video. It's so sweet.
It is. It is a wonderfully poetic narrative of two broken souls finding each other. But I have to push back on this a little bit because we humans love scripting a good underdog story.
Well, I really do.
Are we just anthropomorphizing these animals? I mean, is this actual empathy based on shared trauma, or is it just two isolated monkeys who happen to be sitting next to each other because literally no one else in the enclosure will let them sit at the cool kids table?
It is a totally fair question, and it's crucial to ask that. We constantly project complex human motivations onto base animal survival behaviors to make the natural world feel less chaotic.
Right.
However, if we connect this to the bigger picture of primate sociology, we find that the concept of shared trauma creating bonds is actually a proven biological mechanism.
Oh, really? So it is real?
It is. Macaques possess incredibly high social intelligence. Go-chan, being at the bottom of the hierarchy, is a peripheral member of the troupe. Reaching out to an unknown rejected baby is an immense social risk for him.
Because associating with the outcast makes you even more of a target for the dominant bullies.
Exactly. But macaques also form alliances based on mutual benefit. Go-chan recognized the posture of distress. By choosing to sit with Punch and engage in grooming, which, by the way, is the ultimate sign of trust and bonding in primate societies.
Right, the grooming.
Go-chan was providing something called social buffering. The physical act of grooming actively lowers the heart rate of both participants.
Wow.
Go-chan wasn't just keeping Punch company. He was creating a biological shield against physical deterioration for both of them. It profoundly mirrors human relationships, where shared hardship and mutual vulnerability often form the most resilient foundational bonds.
They found safety in each other when the larger society denied it. I absolutely love the mechanics of social buffering.
It's fascinating.
They formed their own micro-troupe of two to regulate each other's nervous systems. And what is amazing is that Go-chan's acceptance was the catalyst for the entire troupe.
It opened the door.
Yes. Once Go-chan took that social risk and broke the ice, it signaled to the dominant members that Punch was, in fact, an acceptable member of society capable of normal behaviors.
And that created a massive ripple effect.
It did, leading to the most viral part of this entire saga. The arrival of Momo-chan, or Mo-chan, depending on the translation you read.
Oh, the internet's reaction to Momo-chan perfectly illustrates your earlier point about our need to script romantic comedies onto the animal kingdom.
The internet absolutely lost it over these two. Suddenly, feeds are flooded with videos of Punch and this female macaque sharing what looked like little smooches, chasing each other's tails and cuddling.
People immediately dug Momo-chan as Punch's girlfriend.
Yeah, one Redditor lamented, "Punch got a girl before I did." We projected this whole epic star-crossed romance onto them, but the internet detectives eventually stepped in with a biological reality check.
Thank goodness for Reddit detectives. A user named user Electric Boogaloo 43 correctly pointed out the major flaw in the romance narrative.
Which is?
Macaques do not reach sexual maturity until they are about 3 to 4 years old. Momo-chan is 5 years old. Punch is only 7 months old.
So it's not a viral romance at all.
Not even close.
It is a fiercely protective big sender dynamic.
Right.
And the circle didn't stop expanding with her. The sources highlight several other troupe members stepping into distinct roles.
Yeah, the whole troop started to chip in.
There is an adult monkey named Onsing who was filmed giving Punch this incredibly tight, extended hug. And there are videos of two older monkeys standing near Punch, acting as literal bodyguards, watching over him while he sits with his plushie.
He even established an interspecies bond with his human caretaker, the zookeeper Kosuke Shikano.
That dynamic is so fascinating. Whenever Shikano steps into the enclosure to feed the troupe, Punch completely ignores the macaque hierarchy, abandons the monkey politics, and runs over to physically cling directly to Chicano's arms.
He knows where he's safe.
He does. Here's where it gets really interesting. When you strip away the fake internet romance and the simplistic idea of just a monkey with a toy, what you actually have is a masterclass in social integration. In just a few months, this orphaned infant actively built a multi-layered support system. He secured a best friend who understands his trauma, a big sister figure for play and socialization, adult protectors to guard him from bullies, and a human caretaker for ultimate safety.
What you are describing is the exact architecture of a successful human community.
Yeah.
We often throw around the proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, we are witnessing the biological reality of that proverb play out across a different species.
Yeah.
It takes a diverse troop to raise an orphaned macaque.
It's beautifully put.
You need the peer for play, the elder for protection, the mentor for socialization. Punch is getting a complete developmental education from all these different nodes in his network. He couldn't survive with just Go-chan or just the zookeeper. He needed the entire spectrum of relationships.
Okay, so with this robust new social network finally in place, it brings up the elephant, or rather the orangutan in the room. What happens to the stuffed animal?
Right, the IKEA plushie.
Yeah, the thing that kept his nervous system intact for the first 6 months.
Well, Shigekazu Mizushina, the zoo director, has stated that his ultimate goal is for Punch to permanently abandon the toy.
Really? Just leave it behind entirely?
Yes. Outgrowing the plushie is the ultimate biological marker that true independence has been achieved.
And the sources show he is making real progress toward that goal. The latest updates from the zoo indicate that while he still runs to the plushie when he gets scared, he is now using the confidence he gets from it to turn around and stand his ground when the other monkeys tease him.
He's using it as a base.
Yeah, he is showing a mischievous side now. He is playing with tree branches, and he's eating with a great appetite. He is transitioning.
He is transferring his attachment from an inanimate object to his living community, which is the exact trajectory of healthy psychological development.
Wow.
The plushie gave him the baseline regulation required to eventually interact with a chaotic living world.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Let's take Punch's behavior and hold a mirror up to our own. Punch uses his toy for a quick burst of confidence so he can face the intimidating social hierarchy of the troop.
We do that too.
Humans do the exact same thing to trick our amygdala, the fear center of our brains. We all have our adult security blankets.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe it's wearing your favorite lucky jacket to a high-stakes job interview. Maybe it's obsessively rehearsing the first 5 lines of a presentation in the mirror so you have the manufactured confidence to walk on stage.
Or checking your phone in a crowded room so you don't look awkward.
Yes. Or bringing a trusted friend to a networking event so you don't have to cross the threshold of the room alone. We use these physical and social totems to regulate our primitive brains, navigating environments that scare us until we build the actual competence to stand on our own.
It is a universal coping mechanism for surviving high-stakes social hierarchies. But this raises an important question about the environment Punch is surviving in now, and it involves the very people watching him.
Uh-oh. The human gaze.
Exactly. Because Punch went so incredibly viral, attendance at the Ichikawa Zoo has skyrocketed. People are flocking from all over to see this famous baby monkey.
Which sounds great for a zoo.
It does. But the zoo recently had to issue a public request asking visitors not to stand too close to the enclosure fence. They are actively trying to mitigate the psychological pressure that the constant human gaze puts on the animals.
It is a brutal irony. The massive wave of global empathy that made him famous is now actively stressing him out.
It really is.
And there is a stark financial reality behind all of this, too. The Daily Dot highlighted that this particular zoo is actually in debt. They operate on a shoestring budget, charging only a $3 entry fee for adults and a $1 fee for kids.
That's incredibly cheap.
It is. It's a small municipal setup, and the enclosure itself is a very unnatural, concrete-heavy habitat.
So the viral fame is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
On one hand, the intense global scrutiny is creating an unnatural psychological pressure cooker for the troop.
Right?
But on the other hand, the zoo is now taking in massive international donations specifically because of Punch's viral fame, and they're using those funds to improve the enclosure and pay off their municipal debt. It really forces us to examine the nature of modern viral empathy.
We collectively fell in love with Punch because he was lonely, and we saw our own isolation reflected in his orange plush toy. but our hyperfixation on his anxiety might actually be contributing to it.
Precisely. We watched him to feel something ourselves. Fame, even for a baby macaque in Japan, carries a heavy, intrusive gaze. We have to continually ask ourselves if our consumption of these viral animal stories is truly about advocating for the subject's welfare.
Or if it's about us.
Yeah, or if it is primarily about soothing our own emotional needs by projecting narratives onto them.
That is a lot to chew on. We started this deep dive looking at a cute, simple video of a monkey with a sloughed toy, and we've ended up dissecting the neurobiology of trauma and the mechanics of human community.
It's been a journey.
To summarize Punch's journey, he has evolved from a rejected, terrified anomaly, clutching a piece of synthetic fabric to regulate his heart rate, into a confident, branch-swinging macaque protected by a diverse, chosen family.
He really has.
His story is a perfect mirror for our own experience. It proves that no one survives isolation purely on their own strength. We all need our go-chans, the friends who have been through the mud, recognize our distress, and take the social risk to break the ice when we are at our absolute lowest.
Absolutely.
And we all need our Momo-chans, the mentors and big sisters who watch out for us and teach us the ropes of the society we are trying to navigate.
We absolutely do. The architecture of a chosen family is a biological necessity. And as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a final, perhaps slightly uncomfortable thought to mull over.
Oh, I'm ready.
We have spent this entire deep dive analyzing how Punch desperately needed an inanimate stuffed toy to cope with his profound isolation before he found his real troop. But I want you to think about the millions of humans who obsessively watched him on their screens. Think about the people who commented that watching this isolated monkey was the only thing sustaining their own mental health. For you, the listener, navigating our highly isolated, hyper-connected modern world, our digital devices, our screens, our viral internet obsessions.
Wow.
Are they actually our version of the stuffed orangutan? Are we clutching our phones to feel a simulated sense of connection, deliberately avoiding the very real, sometimes terrifying biological work of stepping out into the enclosure and building our own troops?
That is a question that is going to stay with me for a long time. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today, learner. Keep questioning the world around you, stay curious, and remember to look up from your own plushies every once in a while to find your troop. Have a great day.